Hello, my friends. Let's practice some more phrasal verbs together. Today, we will practice 2 more phrasal verbs, but these 2 phrasal verbs have many different definitions. So, my advice for you is to remember, context is important. This means that the situations in which you hear these phrasal verbs can be different. Maybe the definition of one phrasal verb in a specific situation is different than the same phrasal verb in a different situation. So just remember to not only learn the phrasal verbs, but also the correct context in which we can use them. Today we will start with put on. Put on. The verb is put and the preposition is on. I want to remind you that the verb put in English is the same in the present and past form. So today I put on my jacket, and yesterday I put on my jacket. Let's start learning about put on with probably the most common use of this phrasal verb. Please put on your shoes. We are going to be late if you don't hurry up. In this context, put on means to place clothing, shoes, jewelry, or even makeup on your body. For example, I put on my jacket. And it means to start wearing an item of clothing, shoes or boots, jewelry or makeup. Let's look at another situation in which we can use put on. I want to listen to a new song. Could you put it on, please? In faster English, this sounds like, could you put it on, please? In this case, put on has a similar meaning to turn on, and it means to start some sort of entertainment. We can put on music, we can put on a movie, we can put on a TV show. In this situation, if we use put on with a phone, the meaning is different as well. Could you put your mother on, please? I need to ask her a question. In this situation, maybe I am speaking with my father on the phone, and my father says, could you put your mother on, please? In this context, if we use put on with a person, it often has to do with a phone, and it means that he wants me to give my phone to my mother so they can speak together. And this usually happens during a conversation. So could you put your mother on, please, means please give the phone to your mother. Okay, my friends, we have one more meaning of put on. The actor put on 20 pounds to play a role in a movie. If you hear put on with pounds or kilos, it means to gain weight. So for example, maybe this actor was before in the picture, he was skinny. And for this movie, he had to gain weight to be strong or to have more muscles. So put on can mean gain weight with fat or gain weight with muscle. Okay, my friends, those are some of the meanings of put on. Let's move now to take off. Take off. The past of take off is took off. Took off. In one case, take off has the opposite meaning of put on. So with clothing, for example, it's the opposite of put on. I prefer that you take off your shoes in the house. When we talk about taking off clothing, shoes, jewelry, or makeup, you are removing this from your body because it is the opposite of put on. So, for example, I take off my jacket. I take off my jacket. However, my friends, it is not always the opposite of put on. With clothing, it is the opposite of put on, but take off has many different meanings. Let's talk about another one. When we talk about take off with airplanes, for example, the plane is supposed to take off at 3 p.m., but I think it will be delayed. If we use take off with airplanes, we mean to depart or leave into the air. And usually it's only used with airplanes to just mean depart or leave in a normal way. So if the airplane takes off, it is leaving, it is flying away. However, if we use take off with other people or animals or other vehicles, even, the meaning is slightly different. For example, she left the garage open and the dog took off down the street. In the picture, you can see what the dog is doing. The dog is not leaving slowly, the dog is running away quickly. So, take off can mean to depart or leave quickly. And if we use it for people, animals, and other vehicles like cars, it means quickly or hastily. It is not like normal leaving, like with an airplane. The airplane is the only vehicle where depart or leave is normal. Here, it means quickly, fast. It's not a normal leaving, but it's fast. So sometimes, for example, you will hear people say, "Oh, I'm late. I need to take off." And that means they need to leave quickly. Another example of take off, if you hear it with a number, for example, I complained about the cold food, so they took $10 off the bill. What do you think it means here if we are talking about $10 that they took off at the restaurant? In this case, take off means deduct or subtract, and we often use this with sale prices. So we can say take $10 off or take 10% off the bill or the price of something. So, for example, if the food was cold in this situation and they took $10 off, the price or total goes from $55.61 to $45.61. They subtracted $10 off the bill. My friends, we have one more example of take off, and this one has more to do with time. My daughter has a concert tomorrow, so I will take the afternoon off. We use take off with time when we choose to have a period away from work. This is time off or time away from work. In this case, this person has an event with their daughter, so they need to have a period away from work. They need to be away from work tomorrow afternoon, and they can express that with, "I will take the afternoon off." My friends, please let me know if you have any questions, but most importantly, practice, practice, and never give up.